the first round of the Comalco Wunderlich Sports Sedan Series here at Amaroo Park, Peter Fitzgerald in the Porsche was pipped on the post by the Bob Stevens Monaro in a real thriller. Peter, time suggests he might have your measure again this time.
Yes, there's only 3/10 in it, and that's not too much, and I believe the Porsche is a little bit more consistent than Bob's car. He was complaining yesterday he had trouble getting a straight run.
You've gone to a lot of trouble, though, to turn the tables, and it hasn't worked out.
Yes, in actual fact, we've brought in a special gear ratio from Germany to try and help us up the hill where Bob really clears out on us. And we've taken a lot of weight out of it, but unfortunately it's to the detriment of handling. So I think once we get it back to Melbourne, we're going to have to play a bit with springs.
But these cars are twitchy enough as it is, and around this circuit, if you're losing anything on handling, it's going to be really hot. Yes,
we found yesterday we were shredding front tyres, and the Dunlop man says that doesn't happen here, but we're doing it, and it makes it a real handful. It's quite tiring, especially when we've got to drive the RX-7 later on as well.
Well, you've got pole in the first heat, Bob's got pole in the second heat, but when you come together, it's going to be a real rip-roaring charge up the hill the first time.
I think so. We're hoping that the light weight, if anything else, will help us get over the hill this time ahead of him, and if we can do that, well, it's a case of trying to keep him at bay.
Is it a two-man race then?
No, Bob Tyndall's involved. I noticed yesterday he did a 2.6. That was only 0.2 off our time, and I think Bob will be someone to look out for.
The man in the twitchy Porsche, Peter Fitzgerald. We look forward to seeing that. Back to you, Mike Raymond.
Thank you, Gary. And field coming out now for the start of the Comalco Wunderlich Sports Sedan Series. Let's take a look at the starting grid for the 10-lapper today. Pole position has gone to Bob Stevens in car number 4, and out of position number 2, car number 3, Peter Fitzgerald, just speaking with Gary. Out of position number 3, car number 49, Bob Tyndall. Car number 77, John Burke, starts from position 4. Out of 5, car 2, Dick Ward. From Western Australia, from position number 6, car 78, Doug Clark. From position 7, car 76, Neil Brain. From position number 8, car 40, Garry Wilkinson. From position 9, car number 84, Bruce Stewart. From position 10, car 12, Laurie Hazelton. From 11, car 30, Steve Jagger. And from position number 12, car 32, John Tesserario. The top 12, as we await the start of the Comalco Wunderlich Sports Sedan race over 10 laps, there is your pole sitter, Bob Stevens, in the Camaro. Peter Fitzgerald, our helmeted up, ready to go in the Porsche. The difference yesterday, only 3 100ths between Stevens and Fitzgerald.
And the start will be absolutely critical to this race. If Fitzgerald can get the Porsche power down, which is something they do very well, and gets to the top of the hill, he'll take a lot of passing. Bob Stevens very fast in the preliminary race today. You can see the difference in nose treatment. One with a low-down scoop on the Monaro, the other with the bluff front nose of a Porsche. But they're both very fast cars. More power in the Monaro, more traction in the Porsche. And it'll probably be traction, I would think, that will count at the start of the race. Bob Tyndall, though, on the second row is a man to watch in the little white Tirana. Very impressive in an earlier race, car 49, and he is in such a lightweight machine that he's leaving his braking to almost desperation. He really has been doing some very hard late braking, and Bob Tyndall is a man to watch, as is John Burke alongside him. The race distance is 10 laps. There are 25 cars in all, a huge field, as you can see. The flag is about to be raised. 10 seconds to go.
Oh, listen to the roar.
Flag down, they're racing in the Comalco Wunderlich final, and Fitzgerald away smartly, a little squiggly that time with Stevens getting off the line. Fitzgerald up on the outside, and he's going to race Stevens side by side to the top of Marlborough and drop into Dunlop Loop. They are close, very close.
Stevens is through.
Fitzgerald dropping back into second place. Tyndall makes the run up in car 49 into third as they exit that corner and work to the back part of the course, making the run down towards Honda.
So it was sheer power that counted at the top of the hill, as we thought Fitzgerald got away a little bit faster, but then Stevens got the power down. He's in front, and now Fitzgerald has the job of getting by him. Tyndall has made a good start. He's right in his tail, and John Burke right behind him in the Toyota. They're the top 4, and the field stretched out here. They have 9.5 laps to go.
Dick Ward from West Australia making a big run going down into Winfield. Closes up 1 place. He's now 4th.
He's running the turbocharged Mazda RX-7. That's the car to watch, and he's up into 4th place. And watch him as he goes up the hill. He is fast. He's the 4th car through. That one there under your feet.
Across the strike, 1 lap down, 9 remain. Bob Stevens, the Pacific Waste Monaro, leads going up the Pitcher Cove Hill for the second time now, and the great scrap starting to develop for second place between Fitzgerald and Tyndall.
Stevens pulling away a little bit. Tyndall putting the pressure on Fitzgerald in second and third places respectively, but they're going to have to watch out for Dick Ward in that turbo. Look, here he comes. Oh boy.
He is certainly worth watching. He was just sensational down the bottom of the track. We didn't expect a visitor to the track to do so well, but he's giving Tyndall a lot of trouble there. Tyndall, we thought, might be pressing Fitzgerald fairly soon. Fitzgerald's in second spot in the Porsche. He's closing up now, going in very deep under brakes, and exactly the same thing's happening behind. There are a couple of battles. There's Ward, the West Australian, and the turbocharged RX-7 with Tyndall in front of him, wondering where this fella came from. And watch the way this turbo RX-7 flies up the hill. It really went off like a rocket last time. You just light the touch paper and stand clear. Watch him go at the end of the hill. And he goes flying over the top. Tyndall's going pretty quickly though too. And this is a real scrap we have here. Two battles up the front. First and second, third and fourth. Not much of a gap between them, but they are two separate and distinct battles at the moment. And here comes Ward. He does close up downhill. His braking does give him some sort of advantage when he goes through Tyndall, who knows the track much better than he. Burke then follows in fifth place.
There's Tyndall going through. Ward not that far behind him.
In the meantime, yes, look at the front there, Mike.
Fitzgerald has got fairly close indeed to the race leader, Bob Stevens. Coming through Comalco corner, now onto the front straight here at Amaroo Park. There's the little turbocharged Mazda RX-7 going up the hill. Stevens wins the horsepower run to the top of Bitchapave Hill as they drop into Dunlop Loop. The gap is open just marginally between Stevens and Peter Fitzgerald, and probably about 10 metres or 15 metres then back to Tyndall, who is still trying to contain Dick Ward of Western Australia.
Well, there was only a breath between the top two, Stevens.
Uh-oh, the turbo's gone.
Oh, yes, he's had it.
Yes, bad luck. He really was pressing the car hard. You can see the distinctive flare of smoke from the engine, which suggests that the turbo itself has gone. Probably that's what has gone, and there's just no sign of the car now. Burke is the next one through in 77, and the next car will be Neil Brain in the Monza. Bad luck for Ward. He really was putting a bit of a challenge there, and he just stops to have a quiet barbecue. A bit of a tangle up the top as a couple of cars are fighting about. Neil Brain in the Monza was running in fifth place, and they got caught up with another car there, so he's off the track. He's lost ground. He's back in action again. The other car as yet hasn't started, still up against the barrier there. John Tesoriero in the Volvo trying to get back. That curious-looking Star Wars machine was a Volvo.
Meantime, Fitzgerald has closed up again on Stevens, and it's a real scrap at the head of the race.
He seems to be having trouble, Garry, in handling the car up on the bends of the track, where the rather precarious handling of his lightweight car is a problem. But down here really hammers it, doesn't he?
I tell you what, and the last time around there, Fitzgerald's car bobbled for a moment or so. I don't know whether he's dropped off the pace, but went off song. Picked it up a bit now, dropped back, and now makes the run down to Stevens as they head down to the right-hander. There's Bob Stevens.
Both these cars have been around for a while, in fact, haven't they?
Yes, they're not new. The big Monaro is probably the most powerful car in the race. People tend not to give horsepower figures away, but one generally accepted is somewhere up the region of 600 horsepower. It's a full Formula 5000 racing motor, so it's a very, very powerful car that Stevens is driving, and he knows how to drive it so well. He's got one of the great competitors here at Amaroo Park. Been racing for years, always likes the big cars, always does well in them. And now he's got Peter Fitzgerald closing on him again. It might have been just a misgear change or some temporary misfire in the Porsche that put him back. He is certainly closing up once more.
Well, they've left Bob Tyndall way behind, haven't they?
Yes, well, Tyndall is quick, and then he's dropped back. There's slightly less than half the race distance to go, about 4.5 laps, and it is notable now that Fitzgerald is closing back. He is certainly hauling in Stevens once more, and look how he closes up under brakes. If he does that next lap, he'll be in a position to pass. He may not hold out Stevens up the hill because the Monaro is just so fast. You watch the difference here as they go up the straight, which is the fastest part of the circuit. Up CRC straight now with the car about to be lapped.
Yes, it'll be Stevens. Interesting when they get into traffic.
Well, traffic could be critical. And see how the big Monaro pulled away from the Porsche. But up here, normally you'd expect the Porsche to close up, but Fitzgerald had to be very careful up here with the rather unusual handling of the car, and he takes it on tippy toes around the top of Dunlop. But down here he tends to loosen it. He didn't have a lot of room there, did he?
Like the parking lot.
Anyone for a spare coat of paint? Well, he wrestled it out of the way. He's taken a few deep breaths of air. The heart is now slowed down to about 300 beats per minute. And once again, he's after him. He's close now, and he may well make a passing manoeuvre when they come down to Winfield, because he does break later. Watch him here. This is the critical corner in the race. 3 laps to go. Can he get by? Here he goes.
He thinks about it. He thought about it, and it's too late.
There was no room there. I think that Stevens put the... Oh, there's a spin there in front of them. 2 cars had touched. They were going on both ways, and the 2 leaders went straight through the middle like a slippery sausage out of a buttered bun. Out of a buttered bun. Straight through. Nothing on them, and they were through and away, and that was close. But it did mean that the gap between them opened up again. But once more, up the top of the hill, under late braking, we've got Fitzgerald closing up. There's a Mini on the outside, and the Porsche almost paid it a visit, which showed you just how desperately hard Peter Fitzgerald is driving that car. Here they come again. He'll try and get close. There's traffic, and traffic could well determine who wins this race. The way they pass, whether one is held up, whether the second one gets a clear run. Fitzgerald making a move on the outside. He can't pass there, but he might get a quick line through. Flags are waving. There must be cars on the track up ahead. And he's on the outside there, but he won't quite match the acceleration, but he will outbrake him. But will he take it on the outside? No, he said, there's no way. I'll go there instead. Terrific driving by... Whoops. Whoops. Well.
Squeezed out.
Great driving by Fitzgerald to get it there, but Stevens moved right over, and great anticipation by Fitzgerald in pulling out of the way. But he's got to do it all again, and they have only 2 laps to go. Once again, though, the big legs of the V8 pulls away up the top of the hill, and Peter Fitzgerald has to do it all over again.
They run up on a lap car here that's John Tesserero. Stevens moves to the inside wisely. Fitzgerald tippy-toes through here because of the problems he's had with handling. Now gets back onto the squirt as they work past Peter Warren on the back straight here at Amaroo Park. We'll see if Fitzgerald can close up just as quickly again on Stevens. Bob Stevens, a 40-year-old ARDC club champion, one of the real professionals, not only in sports sedans but in tourists. They come through Honda corner. Stevens, Fitzgerald looks to the inside, changes his mind, might make a switch here for the inside as they come down for late braking. Here he goes. Down on the inside, moment of truth.
Squeezed out again.
He said, I've never driven against a Monaro that was 32 foot long.
Bob Tyndall's expired.
Coming in to take the flag with, or the signal with only
1 lap to go.
lap remaining. Peter Fitzgerald tailgating Bob Stevens as they go up Bitchapave Hill.
He loses out up the hill. He always gains going down. Now, will this time he try a passing manoeuvre on the outside of Winfield? He's tried a couple of times on the inside. Was it just a feint? What's he going to do? Is he going to try and get him somewhere else? He's got to get by quickly. He only has 4 more corners where reasonably he might expect to get by. There's a car in front. They can't pass. That was bad luck for Fitzgerald. The 2 of them go hammering down through Mazda. A very fast part of the circuit. Here's one place where he could pass, but there's probably no room. That's a big, wide car. He has to get by. It looks like he's one chance to be Winfield, where he's had to go on the pass on the outside. That's where he's going at the moment, but he might be out-dragged. But will he outbrake him? Side by side. But once again, Stevens goes deep. Here he goes on the inside. Now, will Stevens move over? Surely he will. It's all acceleration now, and the big Monaro has shown they can do that, but the Porsche is trying hard. Fitzgerald trying hard to get up. He's flying through, but he's being balked by the big Monaro, and it'll be Bob Stevens who takes the lead. A little wag of the tail, contemptuously saying, I'm going to stay in front. And it's Bob Stevens in the Monaro who wins an exciting race from Peter Fitzgerald in the Porsche. Coming home in 3rd place, a long way back, John Burke in the Celica. They're the top 3 in the Comalco Wunderlich Sports Sedan Series over 10 laps here at Amaroo Park.
Well, what a thriller. And a great race went to Bob Stevens, and 100 marks for effort and determination going to Peter Fitzgerald. Goes to show that no one knows Amaroo Park much better than Bob Stevens, and his driving in the Pacific Waste Monaro to be admired here today at Amaroo Park. We'll take a break and return with more motor racing action live from Amaroo Park. Welcome back to Amaroo Park Raceway near Sydney. Well, we've just seen one of the most exciting sports sedan races around here for quite a considerable period of time, with Bob Stevens and Peter Fitzgerald running 1-2 across the line. Okay, let's go trackside now to Garry Wilkinson.
Here we go.
Well, was that today I was watching, or was it... Stevens?
It was today because it was harder than last. I thought last was about as hard as I'm going to get it, but if it goes on like this, I don't know if I'll get to round 4.
Well, a couple of times he tried to get under you down there in Winfield. You only just managed to hold him out.
Superb braking on the Porsche, and his brake balance is very well set up for here, and that's the place he's going to get through when he does get through. I've just got to keep him out for as long as I can.
Bob, there's an awesome amount of power in these cars. I don't want to embarrass you, but I don't think anybody handles a car like that around here any better than you do, but it really must be a handful.
It is a handful, contrary to the telecast publicised figures last meeting. The car's developing near 600, not 450, and getting it down out of corners like that, it needs bigger wheels on the rear, but the car's not getting it, so we'll put up with the way it is.
Where have you got the edge on the Porsche?
in horsepower up the hill. I make about 5 car lengths on him over the hill, and I think this is going to be an easier one, and then I arrive at the braking area and he's grinning in my mirror.
And you're just wide enough to keep him out on the corners, is that right?
That's all.
This puts you in a pretty good position in the series, doesn't it?
We're 2 rounds up now, 2 to go. It does put us in a good position, but anything can happen. It's only halfway there.
Well, if you take a half turn to your left, Tony Mansour is here from Comalco Wunderlich to hand you your trophy for today's victory. Congratulations.
Bob, we have a motto at Comalco Wunderlich where we say our reputation's built on proven performance. Well, we've presented this trophy 10 times, and I think you've collected it 5 of those times, and you didn't start in all the other 5 races.
Right.
So on behalf of Comalco Wunderlich, Bob, a great performance and a most exciting race. Congratulations.
Okay, thanks a lot. Bob Stevens, congratulations again, a great victory. Now, for Channel 7 viewers, we've got more with Mike Raymond.